There you go. Okay. Here we go. Take away rank. This and that. Okay. Also, thanks for following Uncle Drew and the Wuss Chris. Right. Stats. Giga stats. Right. How many of you actually go into this part of the client? Be honest. Who has ever actually looked at their stats? Who has ever actually looked at their stats? Yeah, I can check other people's stats. If you want me to look at other people's stats, I can do that as well. Ben has a couple of times. What's the most obvious stat that you go for as a jungler? What do you go to look at compared to challenges because I feel cool? A few times. I have. Okay. I've never looked into it too much. Exactly. Now, what happened when this was released? What happened when this was released, right? This is my challenge. This is Yankos, right? Good players who actively play, not someone who doesn't get to as much. When this came out, everyone said, oh, stats in the client, kind of turbo useless. Oh no, we're never going to use it. And I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of useful. We click on it. All right, now he's obviously challenger. Okay. And all of a sudden, you've got yourself a whole bunch of metrics that people don't go over enough to talk about. Ever. All right? Yeah, we can do that, Invictus. We can do that. Yeah, you can join the Virkayu club if you want. I don't have my accounts all in there. I have someone managing it. But you can join it. This one's in it. This one, I think, owns it. That's why I made this. Haha. The biggest one for me for junglers immediately, you go to this one, you're going to notice a big difference. How did I just do that? You click on jungle, or you click on the champion, or you click on the season. Look at this. So I can tell you the Yankos played 866 games this season as a pro player. Last season he played 1,102. In 2018 he played 708. So a lot less. Now, the point of this is when people are having issues with their game plan. Let's just click on Porofess. I mean, I can Porofess a random account so you guys can write your accounts in a bit as well. What you need to do is you need to go into your stats, okay? Listen. Now, he's not a Smurf. This is his main. You need to go into your stats, right? For him, let's just do jungle in general. Map control. This is the first one. Look at your roam dominance score. Watch this. Watch what happens. Challenger, 3.28. Grandmaster, 3.20. Master tier, 3.17. You get where I'm going with this? Diamond, 3.01. 2.84. 2.55. Any bets on what iron's gonna be? Anyone want to guess what iron's gonna be? 2.11 in silver. 1.63 in bronze. Negative 0.83. Hey, minus 2.5. 0.83 roam dominance score in iron in 2020. What does that tell you? There is a direct correlation between low elo, gank roam dominance score, and challenger, and elo. The more roam dominance score you have, the more LP you're most likely to have. So even though it's an AFK farm meta, it's literally pre-15 minutes. Just wait. That means that most games, they probably have 0, or yeah, most games they probably have 0. And then some games they get like 3, you know, and it just averages out. Challenger player in Yankos to iron. Now, the thing for me is you go look at simple things like we just watched gold, right? Gold is 2.55. Okay. This is fine. But if you want to get through gold, you need that to be significantly higher than your competition. Now, the problem is people look at stats like this. You guys see your yellow over the baseline, right? And then you go, I compared it to Challenger and my yellows were amazing. My yellows were better than Challenger. It's like, yeah, You're doing the yellows against other golds. You're in gold and you're comparing your stats in gold, not to other challenger players. This guy, Yankos, has yellows in either direction better than all other challenger players. You understand? He's not playing against golds, he's playing against challengers, and he has these metrics. Now, this is in the last 10 games. Let's look at the whole season. Okay, that's just in the last 10 games. Actually, we should have clarified that. Or is it fine? Everything's, yeah, it's fine, okay. This is the whole season. Look at this. Look at this. Consistency. Consistency. Look at this. Everywhere, okay, his vision control is dipping slightly, but look at the consistency over the whole season. Yeah, he ints for content, but it doesn't matter. You see him inting, but look, do you see the ints in this? Do you see the ints in this graph? You don't, because it's a one-off, right? Mine is pretty good on everything except vision. Okay, SJX. Okay, wait, I need someone at EU West, because I'm currently in EU West logged in. If you're gold or something like that, give me your thing. Give me your IGN if you're gold, and you're on EU West. But I'm bronze? Okay. No problem. Watch. Watch. Bronze stats, 48% win rate. I only care about ranked. There we go. Whole season. Does that look the same consistency to you? I mean, it's only 38 games, right? It's only 38 games, which is nothing. But look, what's happening? What's happening in these moments? Why 0? Why 0? -1. -2. What does that mean? You die? What does it mean? Like you're 0-2-0? Like what? 1 minute? You die before you leave the fountain? But you see what I'm saying? It's the consistency that's so important. Now, the point I'm trying to raise to you is the following. The most important stats. I mean, we can try someone else. Actively challenger. There you go. Cure is usually pretty good as well. So ranked, 1,200 games, jungle, whole season, right? Map control, 3.92. Ladies and gentlemen, 3.92. Okay, huge roam dominant score. So what you do is you go to your stats, you click on immediately the whole season, your whole jungling, and you say, what is my roam dominant score? If it's pitifully low, you slap yourself on the face and say, what's the job of a jungler? It's not to PvE and do nothing. You have to impact maps. That means either through ganking, invading, counter jungling, skirmishing, rotational ganks, what have you. Getting to situations. Most important thing, right? Look at this and immediately it will tell you a lot about your playstyle. If this is super low, yes. Look yourself in the mirror and just say to yourself, why is it low? What am I doing? Now go watch a replay. One thing. The next two that are most important to me, these are important, yes, but I'll get to them. The next most important to me are the objective control ratio and kill conversion ratio. Good. Let's look for another trend. Watch this. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. 23.6 is actually kind of low. 25.1 is an average for jungler challenges this season. 25.6. 25.8. That's... Alright. Thanks for that. Wait a second. Crazy Canadian 13, thank you for the spicy prime and the follow. We can attribute this to the limited amount of challenger positions, right? But it should be... This is kind of weird, actually. I mean, challenger is a bit more controlled. Why is it going up? Wait a second. Am I misreading this? Wait a second. wait a second. That's really strange. Okay, so how killing of enemy champions takes to converting in check. How you killing champions leads to taking objectives. Now, this is really weird. I would hypothesize there's something wrong with the data, sample sizes, what have you. But regardless, you do want this to be as high as possible. You know, he's a bit low here, but at the same time, what could play into that? Sneaking drakes. I get an objective without getting kills, right? Which is, again, the ratio of objectives you help take compared to your team's total objectives. So this is also, did this also go down? Nah, there you go. Okay, so this is probably the trend I'm looking for. See this? Challenger. 53.9, 53.9, 53.4, 52.0, 50.4, 48.5. Again, any iron bets? Any iron bets? Under 40, 41, 39, 46.5 for silver, 44.0% for bronze, -2, under 40. 38.9% of objectives in iron are contributed by junglers. This is horrific. You're the jungler. So if you're a low elo jungler, or you're even in gold, why don't you gank a lot? And why don't you actually take most of the objectives in the game? Very big questions you need to ask yourself, but you can tell so much from this data. The kill conversion ratio is the same thing. Get kills, get objectives. Get kills, get objectives. If I get a gank off and if I win a skirmish, what objectives can I take? Is it tower plating? Is it a tower? Is it a dragon? Is it a herald? These are important. Now in high elo, I would hypothesize that more often than not, when you get a kill, sometimes it just means more pressure. Doesn't mean you necessarily get objectives. It just means that you can use that to get crabs. You can get blue invades, which then can lead to objectives a little bit down the line. So it's more setting up than necessarily A than B. Vision score is self-explanatory. 26 to 60 on the best players. So, this page for me tells me so much about your stats and how you play. And you need to look at it in terms of the whole season to see consistency. You go the past 10 games, you might have variance, okay? You might have variance.
Yes.
And if you have a low set of games, obviously you're not going to have the best stats, but you can do 25 as well. But for me, the best thing to look at is the season. As we get to the end of the season, you can very easily see your growth. So a player that's really bad in January might have a low roam dominance score, and then over the season, this increases. It increases over time, and you sort of look really great. Now, this is cool. This is my wheelhouse. This is where I'm very good. Where I'm personally not as great is in the combat section. Kill participation should always be high. Okay, again, 36%, 56, 44, 47, 50, 52, 54, 55. Look at the trend. There are direct trends that allow you to see exactly what can correlate to elo. And I think things like, roam dominance score, objective control, and kill participation are so simple, are so easy to look at. But people always say, they come and they say, hey, I'm silver, it's my team's fault. Now, obviously, there's more skirmishing and fighting, and you're going to be less involved. But that doesn't explain why you'd be sort of really low on all of these metrics, right? So you can't blame your team if all your metrics are low. KDA is important as well. Just make sure you're not dying too much. That's just standard practice. But for me, those things are so big. Damage share is again subjective to your champion. Utility core is subjective to your champion. So the big thing here for me is KDA and kill participation. Are you saying it's not my team's fault? No, I'm saying it's not your team's fault. It's not your team's fault. No. This is controlled by you, and these are all controlled by you. Unless you play with a split pushing duo who takes all the towers, solo heralds, and solo dragons. In which case, what are you doing? Income, I don't look at as much. I look at it for early CS lead and early gold advantage. Usually, this will again be dependent on your champion. If you happen to be not playing farming junglers, it's very common that you will be -3. If you're a Rek'Sai, I can guarantee you, in the first 15 minutes, I'm going to be down versus Karthus. The meta is farming, so you will be down here. That's okay. If in your elo, you're playing a ganking jungler, and you're maintaining a high lead, right, of CS, so then good job. Good job. My whole thing of one stat under GM is, yes, Shepard, but that's what we were saying. You have those stats against people in your elo. These people have these stats against other GM players. That's what's important. Context. This is against other challenges. This is against other GM. This is against other master. This is against other diamond. Against others, that you have to ask yourself, what would a GM player have against silvers in terms of statistics? All right. So go into your stats, please. Organize like this. Look at your win rates of your champions, okay? For us climbing, for those of you climbing, this should not be this big. This is a highly experienced challenger player since season 3, literally 7 straight years challenger. And And so I can play all these champions. But the rest of you, I highly recommend 3 to 5 max. Click on each one to see the differences in player style, to see how your stats are going. Like you can see here, Kirei's Lee Sin has very low combat scores. Very low combat scores. But the KP is good. The KD is solid. Damage share is slightly lower. Maybe he builds more tanky like SOFM. SOFMM. SOFM. Okay. Maybe he builds more supportive in that sense, so the damage share is inherently less. But the map control, 3.95 to 3.45. Better than all other challenger players. Decent objective control ratio. Again, low in the kill conversion ratio. I'd have to go into the VODs to look at this stuff. Okay? But for me, the stats here are just underused for people looking to climb. You can easily assess all your own stuff. Hey, Coach Kairos, look at this. Roam dominance score for Iron. Iron players, form a union. Get ganking. Let's go. Let's get involved. Should never be 0.3. All right? Direct correlation. I love this. For me, these 3 things are so huge. And of course, vision control. All 4 things. So big for junglers. Off the charts. And then, of course, make sure your kill participation is good. Your KDA is good. This is dependent on your champions. But again, you can look at it. Yeah, it's similar to MOBALYTICS. But my point is, it's very easy to look at these stats within the client. People are less likely to go investigate their stats on other sites. And I think that MOBALYTICS, obviously I work with MOBALYTICS, so I highly recommend it. I use MOBALYTICS for many years. But for an entry look at your statistics, this is great. This is absolutely great. And again, look at it within a vacuum. You know, you're gold, your stats are versus gold players. Yeah, Chris Silver, 925. If you're EUS, you can throw it to me. I'm on EUS at the moment. Give me your stats, Chris Silver, 925. Well, at least your name is representative of your, Silver 1. Hey, you're gonna get the gold. I believe. I believe. You can do it. So, immediately, what I do is I go into ranked solo duo. I see current season, 816 games played. I say, good job, that's nice, good sample size. I say the champion pool's way too freaking big. Way too freaking big. You know, like, Elise should not be played. Kha'Zix, I would not recommend. The Lee Sin don't play. The rest is actually Graves. You can, but I'd prefer people in silver to learn other champions. But you know, either way, Jarvan 124, 893. Way too many games of Elise. Probably holding you down. Yeah, I know you get it a lot. Look, I'm not like every coach. I'm gonna say if you really passionately love playing Elise, play Elise, my friend. But be realistic about what you can do with the champion in this elo. You know what I mean? I tried a lot since I've been on a 2-year break. Of course. But I slap into this. Silver players, 59 to 38. Excellent. Object 66. All right, this 10 games. There we go. All right, that's better. Sample size, very important. Good. Good. Could be better, but good. Solid. Not good enough. Not good enough. This is way too low for a Jarvan player. This is obviously not Jarvan himself, so let's compare to Jarvan. Whole season, map control, 2.8. But look at the improvement over the season. Look at this. You started off by not ganking a lot. You shifted your mindset into turbo ganking. Really, really great. This is excellent. And now all of a sudden we're dipping again. So I can tell you right off the bat, listen, chappy, gank some more. Get more, higher room dominance score. Make sure, actually, it's not necessarily always ganking, but ganking, counter ganking, skirmishing over dragons. You know, these are things that we need to be involved in, right? Invades, of course, as well. We need to be involved in these things. So, it's deaths, of course, hence the -2. Yeah, the guy who had -2, it's because of the deaths. Yeah. So you literally went 0-2. Okay, gotcha. I got you, Invictus. Isolated. And exposed. -2 room dominance score. My goodness. So yeah, I think that overall this definitely needs to be higher, especially the champions you play. How much you interact with other lanes successfully is room dominance. Also contributed to deaths. I would assume that's yourself. I would assume that's your own demise, right? It's not clear, but it'd be redundant to have kills, deaths next to each other in that case. But yeah, definitely too low for your champion pool. But otherwise, very good things. Income, up 3.3, which means because you're not ganking enough, you're farming a bit more. So you should have an offset there. However, you're still down in CS because your enemies are probably getting off more kills than you are. CS per minute, 5.9. People always tell me what should you strive. I still say 5.8 to 6 is sort of high elo metrics. If you're Karthus and Eve, you're looking at 6+. Like if you have 6.0 as Evelyn, that's low. You know what I mean? But this is fine for your champion, but it's not fine considering how low this is, right? And obviously damage per gold. I don't know what you build on Jarvan. That's a variable we cannot answer just by looking at stats. KD ratio is a little low. 2.8 is solid. I feel like if you have 2.8 in almost any elo that's climbing, it's fine. Because if you have above 3 all the time, you're probably a little too safe. In my opinion. But this is where you have bad metrics. 48.7, again, ties into your roam dominance. Right? Because that's your own lane, if I understand it correctly. Wait, wait, I don't know what that's in reference to. Is there a way to change what stats you see? Isn't invading... I thought invading would be. I think it's just generally, right? Because if you're jungle and you have a kill in the jungle, like on their red, it should 100% count. Because it says it's literally for jungle metrics. This stats. If you looked at lanes, it should be for lane. It just says in other lane and in other lanes, yeah. Surely that means just all over the map, no? I take this to be whatever kills you're involved in. Minus your deaths. Minus your deaths. Because we had someone with -2. That's how that's how I've always interpreted it. Yeah, I think they do, coach. I think they do. Because otherwise it would make little sense. Because invading junglers then, like say this was like an invading season 3 meta with Shaco and Lee Sin, you would have no data. you would have no data then. I can reach out. I can reach out LPP. I can actually, I'll ask. We can get clarification on exactly what this means. But I would assume it has to. Because otherwise it would belittle the entire existence of this entire talk. I've been talking about this, it would mean nothing now if the stats meant nothing. But yeah, I mean, if we take it as to mean what we think it means, you know, higher, lower, therefore this will be higher. Damage share again, I think if you're playing fully tank Jarvan, this needs to be higher too. Utility score's good, I like this. This means you're CCing a lot, but again, this could be your champion pool changing. There's a lot of things we can look at. That you would talk about in coaching, actually. You could do stat coaching where, okay, what champions you're playing, how do you build them, how do you like to play, and we can answer these questions, but this is my biggest metric. So that's just my token statistics. I wanted to bring it forth to your awareness to think about evaluating your own play a little bit. If you're more curious, you can go use MOBALYTICS and get fully in-depth stats. But I mean, as we saw from Yankos's page, obviously it's decayed into Diamond. You know, this is against other challenger players, and you can see the difference and the consistency with which he has all these high stats. So I wish there was a stat for lane proximity, like how close you are to laners at important times. Oh, I don't know if they have the data. I don't know if they have the ability to track that. Yes, that's why it's decayed, but he still has all the games in the whole season. It says stats are good, but I don't climb. It says your stats are good relevant to the people you're playing against. Like, look at what a challenge... Like, if I compare a challenger player to silver stats, like, oh, okay. But if I compare a silver player who's doing well, you might have it, like, a little bit bigger. Like, a little bit bigger. Right? But you need it to be much bigger. Everything needs to be much, much bigger when you're trying to get out of an elo. This is someone, if I was smurfing, if someone was challenging, they're smurfing in silver, this is what their data, this data would be obscene. It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit on the graph. So I don't think you can necessarily say, oh, all my stats are good and I can't climb. And also, as we said, champ pool. If you're in silver and you're looking for gold and this is what your stats look like, just pick 3. Pick 3 and off you go. Don't need 30.